we will definitely not shut up and dribble.
The champ is here. I must be the greatest. The champ is here.
I'm going to continue to stand with the people.
The champ is here.
I will not lose.
I'm a bad man. I shook up the world.
Yes, welcome. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with we. My name is EJ, and I got my man,
MH.
He is the DB of the show, and we are Black in Sports, giving a voice to the culture that won't shut up and dribble. Here talking about the topics in and around the game. Today we're bringing you back inside the locker room, man. And MH, man, it's around that time, man. You know, the best part of the year, you know, that we've all been waiting for, man. Let's do a little bit of a NFL preview, man. You ready to do this?
Yes, sir.
All right, man. So we've been in training camp season, man. We got to that glorious day, you know, that happens is where all the teams report. You know, you starting it's like getting that bike for Christmas, and you get to get on it and see what's going on. What have you kind of noticed most about training camps? Like what's some of the things that you've kind of hearing a buzz just in general with training camps?
Yeah, training camp is the best time of year. As a football guy, as a former long time ago player, long ass time ago. I could take my hat off and show you how long it is. We're gonna talk about that's gonna be for another show. The process is coming through.
Oh boy,
let's stay tuned. Let's stay tuned. September 16th. September 16th. Stay tuned for this. I'm changing the world. God mysterious ways. But anyway, no, it's you know, the great thing about football and really the NFL, especially training camp, is everybody has expectations of being good. You know what I mean? I mean, there's some teams have more realistic expectations of contending for a championship, but I mean, everybody has that goal. It's not, I don't think it's just words or, you know, just a saying. I think legitimately you don't really know what the season leads up to with injuries and all those kind of things that happen. You know, everybody's feeling pretty good about their team right now. So
and then
that's the first
all season accusation.
Yeah.
I can't even say it, but yes, like all of that stuff is like gearing you up, right?
Yeah, I'm feeling good as everybody's fan base, and as a member of a certain fan base for a long time, you feel like this is the year, right? So
especially yours,
you know. So, I guess to say that I've heard that from everybody's training camp, just kind of looking outside, looking in,
right?
And then I think another theme of the training camp that's a little different this year, or maybe it's just growing. It's just kind of the preseason games versus that joint practice kind of ordeal, and it seems that, you know, more work and more benefits from a joint practice scenario is being done at a lot of different training camps opposed to what we see on preseason games on TV. So that's interesting.
No, that's a really great point that you point out, because like a lot of teams are really, really moving or like the work that they're getting from that, right? Because like you said, you know, I remember long time ago when I had to report for camp as well. In camp, you get tired of just beating on each other. So when you get to like when you bring the other team in, and you know, you're not going like the scout team knows all your plays, so they're really not following keys. They just run into the spot. You know what I mean? So having those joint practices, they're getting a lot out of those, and there's a little not tapered down, but just more controlled than going out and playing a preseason game. So I definitely could see them going or moving, or more teams moving more towards that.
Yeah, and then you can really, in some cases, probably show more. You can really get more into the meat of what you want to do during the season, because it's not for the world to see what's going on, right? So it's really just a practice, oftentimes between two different, you know, organizations, and they might have the film on each other and what they want to do and how they want to attack, but they probably don't play each other during the season. If they do, it's later down in the season or whatever the case may be. But the whole world can dissect like, oh, this is what you want to do in certain situations, and you can really focus on some of those situations in practice that it might not just show up in the preseason game for whatever reason.
Right. So is it with those practices, and it just kind of dawned on me, I think maybe like 2 days ago or yesterday or whatever, where it was just, it seems like the joint practices are done with people you have that professional relationship with, right?
For
so
sure.
like the Raiders just had the Patriots in,
Yeah,
right?
in town.
And Josh McDaniels, you know what I mean? And then like, and I think we're going to get into this, but like Hard Knocks, you know, like the two coaches, you know, they don't play each other, but like they have that relationships and like, oh, let's do this again next year. You know, is I think one of the sentiments he had because, you know, and then on that aspect, you can probably like, hey, like you got some stuff on tape. Please don't share this ish or, you know, so it just seems like that's one of the little underlying factors that kind of came up.
I think so, man. And that's a little bit plays into, I guess, kind of preseason games a little bit, you know, a lot of times it's geographically, like, you know, who's kind of near you, you're going to have. So the Rams are always going to play the Chargers in the preseason. The Cowboys typically play the Texans in the preseason. And then, you know, I'm sure the Raiders and the Patriots will have some type of preseason camp relationship from, you know, years to come, just because of the two staffs that kind of get together. But I don't know, when you have that communication with opposite coaches, I mean, you're getting together and you're essentially, you know, practicing. They call it a joint practice. You're essentially practicing together. Hey, this is how long we're going to be in this period. This is how long we're going to do this. Hey, my ones versus your ones, or we're going to do ones versus your twos, or however that looks like, however they can do it. I'm sure because you have that open dialogue and communication, you could probably really get some good work and really evaluate. Maybe not so much evaluate, you know, backup or starters because you kind of know who they are, but you can kind of see what's working against something others and how different personnel groups. I don't know. I love football because it's just a huge chess match. And I think you can get a lot of that out of practice, especially in a situation where it's not on full display for the world to see. So
absolutely. And then I think another trend, just like if we're staying in camp and preseason, so we'll use training camp and preseason kind of like all as one, is just a lot of people aren't really in a rush to call out because there's a lot of quarterback fluidity going on. I'll put it like that, right? Like, you know, where's Daniel Jones in year 2? You know, how is Tua looking?
Vanilla Vic, boy.
Vanilla Vic. How is Tua, you know, looking now that he's got the cheetah down there, right? So, and then, you know, Baker Mayfield, I mean, he came out and he won his right competition. So there's a lot of I think the quarterback fluidity things going on right now to one, because people aren't sticking with quarterbacks. Like if you ain't got to go get it together, you may be on the road really quickly. And we've seen that with like Jared Goff and some of the other quarterbacks that were first round or top draft picks, and they still don't have the Jordan Love situation figured out in Green Bay. So a lot of that quarterback fluidity is kind of strong. I've been seeing in camp.
You bring up a great point about the quarterbacks. I don't think I've remembered recently just quarterbacks, you know, changing hands like this. But we're in like a unique space with quarterbacks, which I think is a cool space where, you know, the contracts are like topping each other, and they're like on a different playing field than the rest of the, you know, positions in the NFL. Like they're making a lot, so they're eating up a bunch of the cap. So there plays I'm sure a financial you know, issue into like how quarterbacks are moving. But two, like we've also like are in the transition that Tom Brady always messes up like my analogies because this dude won't fully retire, but like we're transitioning from like the old ass quarterbacks, Tom Brady's, you know, the Aaron Rodgers, he's starting to, you know, Ben is gone. Drew Brees is retired. So like that whole like generation of quarterback is starting to phase out into now you know, it's Pat Mahomes, it's Dak Prescott, it's you know, Herbert. It's like another young crop of quarterbacks are coming in. So I think you're starting to see that change of guard, so to speak. So guys like Russell Wilson and other people are getting shuffled a little bit. So it's just an interesting time for quarterbacks.
And we haven't even seen what Sunshine's going to do down there in Jacksonville, right? Like
exactly,
because they think he could be on that Herbert and, you know, what's Josh Allen kind of level. He just went through some turmoil of what his leadership was. So it's definitely going to be interesting.
It'll be interesting.
So speaking of interesting, another thing that comes, because like, you know, NFL is the #1 reality TV show on TV. So they made Hard Knocks, right? Which takes it up another level, man. Have you had a chance to watch Hard Knocks at all?
Yeah. I actually love this Hard Knocks. This is my favorite one in the last few years.
Really? Let's go. Okay. And like it's so funny because once you watch, and I think we've even had someone on the show before or maybe on the live when they talk about watching Hard Knocks and then like they have more love or respect for the team after they watch that. You definitely get that, right? Because that, I mean, that's part of it, right? And I think the Lions were a definite great pick because I love the coach. He's a bit much, I guess, sometimes, but it's like
he's interesting.
He definitely, and just watching them, right, lets you put you in that perspective of this is their year, right?
Yeah,
it's
definitely not their year, but
it's not Lions fans, but it's going to be better though. It's going
to be better,
but it's not your year though. Let's get that shit right off.
Well, hey man, everybody feels like it's their year, so maybe.
No, not it's their year to win more games than they did last year. But no, man, I love the story that they're already building for him. The comedian on the last show had me rolling.
Hilarious
when he called us Hulk Hogan. He's like, I didn't know Hulk Hogan was y'all coach. That shit's hilarious. Because as much as he says brother, though, like he does brother a lot of shit. Like you guys, brother, I'm telling you, if you got no cheeks and two toes or some shit like that, I'm like, what is he talking about?
He called Hutchinson big ass Justin Timberlake, strong ass Backstreet Boy. Funny.
That was definitely funny. But no, it looks like he definitely has the energy. And I think a lot of the things for a football team is setting the tone, right? Like we always had a mission, like, championship or a division title if you're, high school or playoffs. I mean, your different levels. So it's always to get to the chip, right? That's the ultimate goal. But I think him setting the foundation of that grit of who they are and Detroit versus everyone, like the narrative is great. So like a little more of a fan. So it's going to be interesting as they continue to develop the story to see who shakes out and who doesn't shake out in camp, because I think the only one that looks like they're really shining as a rookie is that linebacker kid. Everybody else, Rodrigo.
I guess,
by the way,
at all. What's interesting about there? I mean, is they got a unique staff where I don't know if I've ever seen this many former players as coaches, and I think that's kind of what makes it dope, because we're in that time now where we probably remember them as players, but seeing them as coaches, and I think we kind of know their personality a little bit. So to me, like, this is what makes this Hard Knocks that much special. Is like, I feel like it's like real like football. I always get like jitters watching it, like the meeting room where he's basically telling, "Hey, Rodrigo gonna start. I don't know what you gonna do." Rodrigo starting and Deuce Staley and Aaron Glenn going back and forth at each other. I was just like, it just reminds me of this time of year. I can almost smell the grass watching them play. Like, yeah.
And it's that real competition about offense and defense, right? Like, I love you, brother, but I'm gonna bust your ass between the lines, man. So no, man, that's that, and it is giving that authentic feel. And I think it's because, like you said, the coaches were former players and they're coaching with that former player passion, right? So a lot of times these coaches, they've never really been in between the lines at a higher level, or just a competitive level. So no, man, I definitely like that.
Yeah, it's a different element.
It's definitely a different element. So definitely a little plug to HBO Hard Knocks, man. They're doing a good thing. Really quick before we move on, though, you see they're doing the clip about the end season Hard Knocks or whatever it's called. I caught a little bit of the Colts last year. It really didn't latch on to me like Hard Knocks does. I don't know if it's because I already have football. Like this is like, I'm really, really ready for football. So this is like part of that progression. But it didn't the first year, and maybe it was a team. It didn't really jump off. Like, what's your feel on that?
I think it was probably the team, honestly. I don't know. The Colts seem pretty dry for a lot of different reasons, but it may fit their market. No disrespect to anybody in Indy. I spend a lot of time there. I think the Arizona Cardinal one is going to be pretty cool. I mean, I think they obviously Kyler Murray. We've talked about him before.
Yes,
we've talked about.
We had a news breaking statement by
we had some blasphemous comments, in my opinion, but so I think they got the right personalities for it, and I kind of like it because it's like, again, I like the preparation parts of football, so it's kind of like that week to week. I think this last one got a little bit, and I shouldn't say this because it's kind of my line of work, but got a little bit too far into the community stuff. I'm like, I just want to see the running back. It's great. Like, I want to see them outside of themselves, outside of person, but I also want to see them in the film room a little bit. Like I want to see them how they talk about the next opponent. So we'll see how that changes from this year and what access. That's the part. What access does the organizations really give Hard Knocks?
Yeah, and I think that makes a difference
really the part,
too, right?
Yeah.
All right, man. So wrapping up the training camp, man, give me your thoughts about your Dallas Cowboys and what you see early on in training camp. What's been good, what's been bad, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, first I want to give a shout out to the local team. I think they're going to be really good. So I'm going to get that out there right away. I think the local team is going to be really good. The Las Vegas Raiders, they're going to be really good. But the Dallas Cowboys, this is one of the years where unlike most years where I felt really good about the Dallas Cowboys.
Y'all not going to the Super Bowl this year?
Yeah, I gotta watch. I'm kind of unsure. And it's not necessarily unsure with the players. I think they have enough necessary players with Dak Prescott, Zeke Elliott. He still has some stuff left in the tank. I'm tired of the disrespect. I think he still got a lot of stuff in the tank.
Okay.
CeeDee Lamb is,
1,000-yard rusher.
Oh yeah, I mean that's
okay.
Yeah, he's a 1,000-yard guy.
Okay.
CeeDee Lamb, I think is a real guy at the wide receiver position. I think the Cowboys are going to help make him be a real guy.
Yeah, he snatched the phone out of his girl's hand like a real guy. So
that's a real guy,
classic.
A real boy. But I just think I don't know how I really feel about Mike McCarthy. Not necessarily like him. His game management probably needs maybe adjusted this year. And
17 penalties in the preseason game.
Yeah, I don't know about that. And boy wonder Kellen Moore. He got some real nice Madden plays, but he just needs to get the ball to the necessary people. So for those couple reasons, I'm a little hesitant. But then I look at that defense.
Okay, there we go. That's what I was waiting for now.
And I think that defense is the real deal. I think that, led by Micah Parsons,
Beast.
who I think is going to go to another level this year, like, best player in football type level this year. They still got
Aaron Donald stop playing, or is Aaron Donald
he's still out there? But we're going.
Okay.
Here's the reason why.
Cowboy spirit.
Here's the reason why. Dorrance Armstrong is a good defensive end, and he's solid. And DeMarcus Lawrence, he can still play really good. And they got Dante Fowler, he's good, and they got a new rookie. Speaking of guys to watch, Sam Williams, he's going to be a really good speed guy. But the reason why I think Micah Parsons is going to go to that next level is because of pickup like Anthony Barr. So they picked up Anthony Barr recently, former Minnesota Viking. I think he's going to be a solid player for them, and it's going to let Micah Parsons probably do what he does best, and that's rush the quarterback. He's got that Von Miller, Derek Thomas. He has that kind of impact on the game, and I think if you let him do that more, it's going to be a problem. So we're going to see. He's a rookie of the year, defensive rookie of the year. I think there's going to be another level to what we see. He might be defensive player of the year at the end of this season. So that defense, I really believe, is going to propel the Cowboys into a real deep playoff run. I'm not going to say Super Bowl yet, but I think they're going to get past the first round. We'll put it that way.
Past the Romo round. Okay.
Don't disrespect Romo. Let's not disrespect Romo.
All right. So, okay. I mean, nice assessment. I definitely believe in that. Okay.
Yeah. Now we gotta go to the AFC and them terrible somethings. What's going on over there?
You said terrible towels, right? That's what
terrible somethings. That's what I said.
Terrible towels. Where's mine at? I know I got one close. Anyway, I think as strongly as I do like to speak on our championship winning team. Yeah, a lot of changes. I think you mentioned early on. We lost a perennial Hall of Famer and Ben Roethlisberger. There's been some thoughts about maybe some decline and all of that stuff, and I'm not gonna get into that. We still have our winning coach, right? So he's one of the winningest coaches in his kind of tenure. Never had a losing season, and I think if you have that as your baseline, you can only build from there. All right. Okay. we have two head coaches. I mean, you're bringing the power of Brian Flores into that mix of things. So I just think that just adds to, that coaching, right? Because sometimes in the games, people are getting out coached. We'll start with the offense because I don't want to spend too much time on it because it hurts my heart, man. Let's start with that offensive line. The offensive line is fucking trash, and we need to figure out what we're going to do as far as offensive line, especially if we're going to protect a rookie quarterback. So that's the really.
You're not letting Trubisky ride? Yeah, I got to let Trubisky get out there.
That's where you go back and forth, right? So do you let Trubisky, get out there and see ghosts and worry about what the hell's going on out there? Where Trubisky is. He is, a starting quarterback in the league. He's a veteran. So maybe you do let him go out there until you get the line stuff situated. And just heavy run game. We have one of the best running backs in the game. He can out the backfield, great hands. So from that standpoint, and we are how some colleges or whatever call themselves DBU or, linebacker central or O-line. We do a great job recruiting wide receivers. So I think our offense will be decent. It just depends on what they scheme around, whether it is Mitchell or we have, Pickett come in the game. Pickett's been looking good, in preseason, but then again, it's a lot different, when you have Parsons or Aaron Donald or whoever coming after you with reckless abandon. So our division is really, really tough division, so we don't have it easy like some people in the NFC that play a really, 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 really weak schedule.
So decent.
Anyway, the Eagles couldn't beat anybody in our division, by the way.
I don't know.
Yeah.
That's debatable.
What? Who? Maybe the Browns on a bad day.
And maybe them Terribles. That's two teams in that division.
Anyway, moving on. Let's move to the defensive side of the ball because, I am definitely in a hold my breath kind of situation here with the Steelers because we have such a hard division that we beat ourselves up with before we even get any, go outside the division. We're bringing back, one of the best pass rushers in the game. We got the Watt brother in there till TJ holds it down. Sack leader, that's still happening. Linebacker core is getting better. You still have Mika Fitzpatrick back there. So defense is okay. You know what I mean? So I think it's just going to be comparable enough. It's just one of those wait and see years. I believe in Tomlin, and Tomlin we trust. So I think with good coaching, and we got some of the key places and areas, I think you can scheme around a lot of the other stuff. So we'll see, man.
I mean, scheming around a quarterback going to be tough, but,
Well, we got a quarterback. We got Mitch Trubisky and we got Kenny Pickett. So we'll figure it out. We'll definitely figure it out. You need to stop with that tone in your voice with that. All right, man. So moving on. What is a big storyline or just something that's just you're looking out for this season or stuff that's been talked about in the preseason that you're kind of looking out for that you're going to be surprised or just watching?
A couple of things. I think one that you mentioned and we've talked about is the quarterbacks. Russell Wilson's in a new spot. We don't know what's going on. I mean, we know what's going on in Cleveland, but what do they do? Jalen Hurts got some players and weapons around them. People don't really think he's going to hold up. How does Tua hold up? So obviously, I think the quarterback talk is interesting, and I will say that, and then how the Buffalo Bills come back from the way they lost. That game that they lost to the Chiefs, one of the best football games I've seen in the AFC Championship, and two amazing quarterbacks playing at the highest level. How do they rebound from that? Is this hey, this is a next step to they can finally get to the Super Bowl, or does Kansas City kind of hold their spot? How do they do with, to me, their best player plays in Miami now? How does Kansas City adjust? And then all the other movement of top tier wide receivers. we always call wide receivers kind of like divas, so to speak, but they changed the game. And they can change it in really quick, fast, and hurry. So, you got one of the best receivers in football, Devontae Adams, is here locally, and then Tyreek Hill, we see that's in Miami, and even Amari Cooper don't like playing in the cold, but is in Cleveland. So like how do the receivers, how do they adjust to their new areas and what's going on there? I'm really excited to see, because the game has changed so much, and where it's almost an advantage for the quarterbacks and receivers on either given play.
Right.
I think they could really change the game and change teams' fortunes pretty quickly. So we'll see how they go.
Nice. All right, man. So wrapping it up, Super Bowl predictions, man. Just give me the two teams that you're saying is going to be set in Arizona, Phoenix, Arizona this year at, was it State Farm Stadium this year? Who are your two teams in there?
Two teams I'm going to go with. It's going to be a surprise. Maybe on both of them. I think the trend continues for home teams playing in the Super Bowl.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I think the Cardinals could be a real deal. The only parts that I worry about the Cardinals, I don't think they got a really I don't think they have a running back that can like really set the table for them.
So Connor's not doing it for you?
I mean, he's good, but I don't
Okay.
I don't know if he's that game changer of a guy. I would love to see a different running back with them. And then I don't know if they really can hold up inside defensive tackle wise. I don't know who their defensive tackles are, but I think that's important in that division and the way they play. So if they can shore that up and they can stay healthy, I think they got a lot of good weapons. That's just my surprise pick. I just think the Cardinals, maybe the team out of the NFC, and then in the AFC, I think Buffalo is really, really, really good. I think Josh Allen is really good, but I'm gonna go with the home team. I think the Las Vegas Raiders are going to be in the Super Bowl. So my prediction this year is Arizona Cardinals and Las Vegas Raiders in the Super Bowl.
There you go. I like that. Well, more for the home team. Surprising, continue the trend, because like you said, it was funny. I was talking to someone today, and they were like, well, hopefully Arizona season ticket holder. And it's like, man, we want to keep the trend going. So nice. I like that. Well played. My two teams was, I thought where you were going is I'm going to start with the AFCs. I think the Bills, they've been progressing. Bills Mafia, that energy. And I think it's if they can continue to click right, and injuries is always a big part of all of this, right? Staying healthy. But I just think Josh still has a chip on his shoulder. Like you said, how he played that shootout, like if he would have had the ball last, all of that stuff goes into it.
Yep.
I don't really see them taking a step back. I think they're reloaded and ready to go. And then I think it's going to be the old vet, right? Like I think TB, Tom Brady in Tampa Bay. You shake your head, but like, Tom, he defies a lot of stuff. And I think that he didn't come back for nothing. And they're gonna have to work with the Rocky coaching change and all of that stuff that he still had to deal with Arians. They had like some battles with the coaching situation, but they figured it out. And they have a collaborative kind of work environment for that. So yeah, man, I'm going with the Bills versus Tampa Bay, man. Yeah, old generation versus new generation, and then see if Tom can take it again.
When is this old just going to be old? It has to come at some point. It just has to. So
it has to, but to this point, man, it hasn't. So we'll ride with it, man.
Okay.
All right. Any final thoughts, man?
Nah. Football's here, man. It's exciting.
Football is here. Well, hey, thank you all people for listening, man. We do this, drop a new show every Thursday, man. So we please appreciate if you subscribe on the YouTube channel or anywhere you listen to podcasts. Please know that visual representation matters. Stay safe, practice gratitude, and know we're rooting for you.
Screaming, all us blacks got is sports and entertainment until we even.
Assuming I'm rooting for everybody that's black. Yeah. Yeah. Assuming I'm rooting for everybody that's black. Yo. Look. Sue me, I'm rooting for everybody that's black. Spent about 2 racks on handmade new rags. Sue me, I'm rooting for everybody that's black. That's everybody from sports to college class to rap and back.